Hey world, and welcome to the season 1 chapter 4 review of The Mandalorian. Yes, we're back. Episode 4. It's on Disney Plus. Just got finished watching it, and now I'm ready to break this thing down because even though this was a kind of a slower pace episode, I really enjoyed it. And you know what? It's needed. We're at the halfway point of season 1. Episode 4 marks that halfway point of this season. And you know what? We needed a little slowdown with with the adventures of the Mandalorian and Baby Yoda. But you know what? This came at the proper time. And we got new characters, we got great new scenery, another planet we get to visit during this episode. So let's go ahead and jump right on into this thing. Uh, for chapter 4, the name of this episode is called Sanctuary. Yes, I mean the episode opens basically just with a raid on this village that we later get to know as the Krill Village, and it's a new race, which I love. Like, I'm glad we get to see these new races and new type of indigenous people, and I like how they're farmers and things of that way. It's like they're not just people living in a town or something like that. We're actually getting new a new race of people that that work for a living and things of that nature, and I love that. And we see their village getting raided by these. I don't think we ever did get the name of the raiders. I may have to watch that episode again, probably to see, but they're being attacked on by raiders. And we get to see the mother and her child, who we get to later know that her name is Omera, and that was her daughter Winter. And we we get to go on from there. It's like a very kind of intense cold opening. Like, they're being raided, their food is being taken, everything they just picked from their crops and things of that way have been taken from them. Yeah, it's a great cold open to establish where we're heading in this episode. But next off, we kind of get a sequence that I can relate to as a parent, as a parent of a 2-year-old and soon to be father of a second little boy soon, about the relationship that Mando and Baby Yoda have in this first part of this episode. It's like when he's just telling them, don't touch anything, don't do anything, don't do this, don't do that, and the Baby Yoda just goes ahead and pushes the button and just go. I could totally relate. It's frustrating as a parent. I mean, all parents know, but all parents know this and things, but it was just funny to watch because the Mando has really become this surrogate dad for Baby Yoda, but he still maintains, okay, this is just a kid. I mean, he's still protective of him, and just being that kind of person that that can have that loving side, but and also telling him just to stay and just do this and that. He just does it anyway. Awesome. Watching Baby Yoda walk was like watching how my son now walks. He's very, like, when he first started walking, he was very wobbly and slow walking and things like that. It was such a, oh God, the cuteness overload in this episode is insane. But yeah, but moving on, Mando and Baby Yoda, they come to this pub, and I don't know if anybody realized this, but we get the first live action look at, what's the name of that cat? Lothal, the Lothal cat. We actually get a first live action look, and it looked amazing. This is how I know Dave Filoni had to have a hand in that, because that was a Rebels callback, a big Rebels callback. And I already know without a shadow of a doubt that that was Dave Filoni's doing. And as soon as I saw it, I kind of yelped. I was like, ah! It was amazing. I loved it. I loved every moment. I loved the seeing it on screen, and how, God, I don't know if it was Weta or Lucasfilm that did the effects for it, but it looked beautiful. It looked beautiful, and I love how he just launched that Baby Yoda. I was like, hey, stay away from my baby. That was kind of cool. But also in this pub, we get an introduction to, and a rather quick introduction to it. I mean, it doesn't slow down the story at all, to Cara Dune. Cara Dune in this scene, and Mando walks in, and he asks this waitress, you know, who is this chick? And she said she's been there for about a week, and that she, like, I don't know much about her, and he tries to bribe her to see if he can get some more information, trying to be a bounty hunter still. But she did not register all what he was doing at all. And she just like, oh, thank you, kind sir. Like, just thank you for that extra money, that extra tip you just gave me. I'll make sure your food is extra hot, and I'll throw you in some extra whatever juice she said she was going to throw him. That was hilarious, because that shows you how far out from the bounty hunting world he really was. Like, he's really out there on this backwater planet where these people are just trying to live, and you trying to throw your bounty hunting skills around. Yeah, no, not gonna happen there, bro. But yeah, and also fun fact: the woman that is playing that waitress happens to be the wife of Frozen and Frozen 2's Josh Gad. But moving on, but back to Cara Dune. Now we get to meet her for the first time, and let's say she is a scrapper, and my God, boy, she's strong. Man, she's strong. When they were fighting outside, I was like, God, he landed some hits, and she landed some hits. They were almost equally matched, though, but I like the roughness of it. The whole roughness of the scene was just like, you didn't need any music. It was just straight up rough. And I don't think we get that many moments in Star Wars, because Star Wars is all about the flashy gun battles, lightsaber fights, all that, things like that. We don't get old fashioned fisticuffs. We don't get that in the Star Wars universe, or get it that much. But it was refreshing to see, and then just having Baby Yoda and just come up sipping on his soup, like he's just like, cool, yeah, still going? Yeah, well, like, I'm here just sipping on my soup, just looking all cute and stuff, and just, I'm just chilling. That was another adorable Baby Yoda moment. I was like, okay, all right, fine. Just slap me all with the Baby Yoda moments, and this episode had plenty of Baby Yoda moments. But moving on, him and Kara meet. They recap. Tell her what she was doing, and how she actually thought, the reason why they were fighting, it was how she thought that he was he had a puck out on her or whatever, and just they decided to go their separate ways after that. But later on, that same evening, Mando receives a job from the Krill people, and it's saying about how these raiders are actually coming to telling them about the raider event that actually happened earlier in the episode. And I like how Mando was like, okay, all right, raiders are basically raiding you and taking your stuff, and you have little money, so I'm just like, good luck with that. You can't pay me enough. And I'm like, wow, that was like super cold. But I like how he saw it as an opportunity for him to lay low with Baby Yoda, and how he just went like, okay, I'll help you, but you're also helping me at the same time. So he's a really good strategist. I love that. That was very good to watch and see. But then also he brings on Kara. He brings her along, for help and assistance. So they go to the village, and this is where they meet Omera and the woman from before, the one in the beginning of the episode with her daughter. And this is where the point of the episode where we kind of get new information. And I like how, like, every episode we get new information either about the Mandalorians or Mando himself. And this is what I love. We found out many things in the episode. We found out first that he can't take off his helmet when no one is around. But he can take his helmet off. My bad. He can't take his helmet off when no one is around, but when someone is present, he can't really take it off. And he hasn't taken his helmet off since he was basically a kid. So he's adopted into the Mandalorian family from what we get to know here, because we know that his parents is indeed dead. And I guess somewhere around that time, the Mandalorians took him in, gave him a home, gave him, plenty of, gave him a family, a sense of purpose. And I love how like this little bit of information, and we also get to see this very tiny moment where he takes off his helmet. And I was wondering, I mean, even though I don't know if that window that he was standing in looking out of could be seen back into, but I'm just so curious. What does he look like under that under that armor? What does he look? What does his face look like under that helmet? It leads so many intriguing questions. But moving on into later in the episode, to the next sequence, basically, Kara and Mando, they basically begin to track down the raiders and try to see if they can find their camp, only to find out that they have they're raiders, but they have an ATST in their possession. When and Kara has gone back to they found out about that. They go back to the villagers and let them know, like, why in the heck did y'all not tell they had an ATST? For those who don't know what an ATST is, for everyone that has seen Return of the Jedi, the Walker type of we know for the Return of the Jedi, the one Chewie kind of commandeers, Walker type of destroyer that kind of that went through the forest and started shooting things down that Chewie and the Ewoks took over. Yes, it's that, and it is. I like how that was a great callback, like a callback to to Return of the Jedi in ways, and I like how I like how we get to see the influence that the Empire has reached out that far into the outer reaches. And that to me that is insane, because if you look at a map, and I believe there was a map, I don't know if it was accurate or not, of where the Republic and the systems that we see in the movies versus where the outer reaches are, the outer rim. It's a very big, vast gap in between there. And the fact that the Empire actually tried to stretch out that far was actually, it really brought into grasp like how the Empire's reach was really on the galaxy. And I love how we're getting just getting these new bits and pieces of information about these things. But back to the part of this episode, Kara is like, okay, we can't help you all, like that you didn't tell us you didn't have an ATST, and we can't do this alone. So you know what? We're just going to wind up leaving. And the people are like, man, no, bump that noise. We paid y'all. You all going to stay. So Mando goes on to say, like, you know what? Let's teach these people how to fight. Let's come up with a plan to actually get this in. Let's come up with a plan to see how we can actually get these people to save their own selves. I mean, we can't do it. Let's get them to do it for themselves. Okay, the plan is on. Everything's rolling. They come up with a plan, to get the ATST to, sink into this, to get it to sink into this, I would say it's like a lake, a little pond where it's kind of like they digging out holes and stuff like that. I found that to be very creative. That was a creative part that I loved. I mean, if you're going to get something, you're going to get that big old contraption of a machine in there, you're going to, okay, you got to be really smart about it. And I love how they made this plan up, which brings us into this almost to the last part of the episode where they go back, they pull out, they call out the raiders, they fight the raiders, trying to lure them out and lure the ATST into the open. And what really kind of caught me was how, even though it was shot, it was a night sequence, it was still stunning. There is a shot in the episode where it's like the ATST on the right, but the village is on the left, and it was a nighttime shot, and it was gorgeous. And I have to give it to Bryce Dallas Howard. She really made this episode authentic in its own way. Even though it didn't have its own Western feel, it felt like it was its own thing. Like it kind of reminded me of what would I say? It reminded me of The Last Samurai a little bit, and kind of like those Western, like kind of like that flick. Definitely The Last Samurai. And that whole sequence was awesome. Just seeing Kara and Mando both working together with the villagers, and then also the pyrotechnics, everything, set design, all that was great. all that was great. But bringing it to one, let's bring it back a moment because I know I kind of skipped this part about how there's only one. The thing that I kind of found like a little too convenient for me, but it's a little nitpick, but it's okay. You know what? It's okay. I'm all for it. The part where they ask who can shoot a gun, and this was during the training montage, and the whole training montage, which was so God, that reminded me so much of those movies where you just have the people want to be involved and things like that, and so you train them, and so it was movie trope right there. I like how even though she was a woman, O'Mara was the only one that know how to shoot a gun, and I'm all for it. You know what? Like I know it's something like a little. It kind of stood out there, but you know what? I'm for it. I'm for it. I mean, like a woman that was shooting that skillet. There was a skillet she was shooting in the episode. I loved it. I was like, okay. And there was a look on Mando's face. I would have loved to see what his face was looking like under that helmet, because it must have been hilarious, because his helmet was pointed looking at her for like the longest time. And I was like, okay, you know what, man? This is like you're falling for her. You're falling for her hard, man. Yeah, but okay, now fast forward back to the battle. I just wanted to mention that. Fast forward back to the battle. They eventually get that big monstrosity, which I have to admit, that ATST at nighttime is menacing. It was, I don't know who decided. I don't know if it was Bryce or the set team or whomever or the producers that would say, okay, let's make the front window eyes of the ATST. Let's just go ahead and make it red so it could look menacing at night. Whoever thought of that needs to get a raise, because that made it look so frightening at times. Because it was like, okay, the thing is firing on us. We got these raiders coming out from all sides of it now, and then we are shooting them with one shot and watching them disintegrating with his pulse blast from his fork gun. That's what I'm calling it, fork gun. It was a great sequence, brilliantly directed by Bryce Dallas Howard. This next part was probably the most heart attack inducing scene I have ever seen in a Star Wars episode. And actually in any of these episodes so far. The most heart attack inducing scene ever. Alright, like the battle's been won. Mando and Cara chilling, Baby Yoda's being cute with the kids. And we see Mando starting to consider that maybe Baby Yoda needs to stay here with the villagers. I mean, he seems like he's safe. It's quiet. I mean, he has all the care in the world for him here, and plus he already knows it's not the life for him to be out there with Mando. Running around doing all that crazy stuff. Doing bounty hunter business, and he goes to talk to O'Mara about it, and she even tries to convince him to stay. But meanwhile, as that is going on, there is a bounty hunter from what is his name? Carl Weathers' group. Yeah, Grief's guild, actually tracking down Baby Yoda and getting them in sniper mode and almost taking them out. I gotta admit, when hearing that, when I heard that gunshot, I said, "Oh my God, no, they didn't. No, they didn't." I said, "Where's my baby?" I was starting to freak out a little bit, but only to see that Carr was able to shoot him first. Oh my gosh, that made me breathe a sigh of relief. I'm like, okay, all right, Jon Favreau, all right, writers, all right, Bryce, don't do that again. That scared the crap out of me. I was like, okay, I'm done. We're done with this episode. Okay, let's go ahead and wrap it up, because now y'all really trying to kill Baby Yoda at this time. But yeah, the episode really wraps up really quick after this. Cara and Mando, they both part ways, and I was kind of mad to see that she won't be joining him on his next mission. And I'm like, okay, what is the point of introducing these characters? You're only giving them one-offs. I really would love to see Cara and even O'Mara and her daughter again, because I mean, it seems like these characters in this episode are very intricate to him, his growth. And I love how we got to see him actually interact with someone who may not have to be in the same line of work as him, but someone he can understand. And Carl really did that for me. I really love that. I remember reading some behind the scenes stuff from Gina Carino and Bryce Dallas Howard that they really changed up Cara Dune in this episode. They really made her a strong female character, and yes, she was a strong female character. And I love that about this episode because she wasn't one to just like back down from a fight, and she knew when to pick and choose her battles. And it really showed on screen, and it really showed that Bryce really took care of Gina Carino on set, and I'm glad I hope we get to see more of her down the road. But to wrap this up, this episode was amazing. It was amazingly directed by Bryce. She did her thing. And this is also her first time directing something in Star Wars. And also another female. She'll be the second female director to have directed anything Star Wars. And I can't wait to see more from her. Hopefully they will give her a feature film somewhere down the line. Because she did an amazing job. And especially with just doing action sequences and stuff like that. She is going to be a great director in whatever she does, and I wish her the best. But the episode ends with just Mando and Baby Yoda going back off. I believe he said they were going to the I think he said something about Razor's Edge or something like that. Don't know what that is, but we're definitely going to find out in next week. With this episode, I understood that it was a lot slower. It had moments where we got exposition and we got more cute Baby Yoda moments. But to me, I believe it was needed. It was definitely needed for this time. Because I believe the last 4 episodes of this season are definitely going to be, it's going to be quick, fast. Because I like how each episode lasts for maybe 30 to 40 minutes. And these 30 to 40 minutes run really fast. Just to go ahead and wrap this up, tie it off with a bow. I'm going to keep saying this every time. I can't wait for episode 5. I'm excited. We're already at the halfway point. Wow, it feels like just last week this show just premiered and I just started doing these podcasts. So yeah, I'm ready for the next episode. So go ahead, guys, comment, like, subscribe. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode. Let me know down in the comments below what other content you like to see. Still working on this YouTube page, still working on a whole bunch of things for the Southern Real. The Southern World is going to go strong next year. I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. You guys, I know you guys are still flocking in at this point, and I can't wait for you guys to see the content I'm going to create, because it's just a crew of one right now. So until next time, guys, this is awesome. This has been awesome. Until episode 5, I believe. It was episode 4 of the podcast, but episode 5 of this. But enough of my rambling. Until next time, may the force be with you.